On today's episode, we dive into the meme madness. Has AI finally nailed the art of humor, or is it still more tinny than funny? Meanwhile, open source AI models are continuing to shake up the industry, and we explore a future where your next big negotiations may just be AI powered. And finally, are we all just players in some AI overlord's cosmic universe? Well, you're about to find out right here on...
They might be self-aware.
Daniel, you're a tiny little bit under the weather today, I may have noticed. And I was wondering, do you think AI is going to cure every disease known to mankind? Is that on the horizon?
I mean, not directly, but I do think that we're already seeing some huge strides with like AlphaFold, for example, being able to predict protein folding patterns and things that are well beyond my comprehension at speeds well beyond what humans can currently do. I very much think that we're going to see more of that. And it'll be, here is a new medicine, or here's a new enzyme, or here's a new thing that can attack every variant of the flu instead of just the ones that I got vaccinated against, which were not the one that I got, for example.
Funny how that works.
I do think that we're going to see these kinds of things, if only because you can have something that is dedicated to this with basically infinite computational resources. We've spoken in previous episodes about, well, I have anyways, I really don't think that we can talk about AI as like having more personhood until there's more embodiment of it. And I do think that soon we're going to see an AI-driven lab where there's the robot arm and it's mixing the little chemicals from whatever and puts it in the machine and runs and then checks the results. Because you can only simulate things so much. You can only run the numbers. I think sometimes you're going to have to actually have it get some stuff off a shelf, mix it together. Maybe you can put a fun little white lab coat on like one of those Atlas robots or something.
Sam Altman seems to be very bullish on this use case in their is it Project Stargate? Is that the name of it?
Yeah, the infinite amount of money that's going to be thrown at the vague concept of AI. Yeah.
Yes, that one. One of the things that they're going to solve is all of life's medical problems.
Yeah, so. I don't think it's going to be just AI that does that. I think that it's going to be human researchers working with the latest and greatest tools, AI absolutely being among them. But better DNA sequencers or whatever are also going to be a valid part of that.
Sure, at some point the medicine has to come back into the real world, and unless we're at the moment where we do have these robots going around everywhere that can bring it into the real world, that likely is a human, and you have to imagine that humans are the ones running the trials, etc. That assume still take place.
And there's a fun parallel between what you just described and generative AI. When people think about AI these days, it's very easy to think of ChatGPT and something that writes text that looks like a person could have written it, often depending on how you look at it. Or drew a picture for definitions of drew and picture and so on. But the parallel that I want to draw here is when we say in the medical realm, Dr. ChatGPT could come up with a new serum or something, but it still then has to be used on people. The same thing for most business use cases of like generative AI. You don't just make images or text for nothing. It doesn't just go into a digital shredder. It was making something for the pure sake of creation. There is a human involved at the end of any of these processes, presumably. Even if there's 10 intermediate processes of, okay, this document comes in and then we identify the language and then we transcribe the audio and then we extract the most important parts, and then we make a summary and then we do this. Okay, all of that then goes somewhere. It has to go somewhere to some person that would benefit from it, whether it be an ad that got showed to them that was slightly more relevant than a different algorithm, or a one-page summary of everything that happened that day that was important to them, or that meeting that they didn't attend, or this or this or this. But the point, AI has to have a human that can ingest the output of it and benefit from it.
Well, speaking of a little bit of human input, I have something that might cheer you up a little bit if you're a little bit under the weather.
I can be the human that the input is going to here.
Well, I was the human that the input came to. So I was playing with DeepResearch, which is a new thing on the ChatGPT Pro tier, that ultra luxurious Pro tier, where you can give it a task.
We're going to talk about that.
And in theory, it will go out and spend up to 30 minutes researching it and come back with the results, whether it's a kind of a paper or just the answer to your question. And so I thought it would be interesting to test the meme creation, because we asked the ChatGPT operator, to create some memes for us. I was like, well, I wonder if DeepResearch is any better. And so I went to DeepResearch and I prompted it. So it's slightly different. I first asked it to research what are the current AI news stories that people are talking about, and then to craft 10 memes in reference to the top AI news stories.
Okay, now, so the research part is what is being talked about in the zeitgeist right now, and then also make memes about it.
Yes, that is exactly, you nailed it.
Before we go farther, I do know that there is an open implementation of Google's Notebook LM, where it can make kind of like a podcast based on whatever you give it. Are you trying to outsource us, Hunter?
I 100% acknowledge, like, the end game for this show is that you and I are replaced by our AI counterparts, and we just retire off of the massive wealth that we're generating. That's 100%.
And nobody's the wiser.
Yeah, I don't.
You all didn't hear it here first, folks.
Exactly. But I think actually, we've talked about humor being something that's very hard for AI to, and so I think it might actually be, no one's benchmarking humor, but I think a humor benchmark, which could come in the form of meme creation, might be a very valid benchmark.
Humor. Okay. I'm really looking forward to like a version of ChatGPT, or, some generative AI that's going to be like in New York in like bad comedy clubs. And it's just like, it's the opener for the local guy, and then eventually starts kind of working its way up.
Yeah.
And once we have an AI comedian selling out stadiums, then we know AI understands humor.
So DeepResearch went away. It worked for about 12 minutes. I didn't get the full 30. It stopped after 12 and came up with 10 memes. Now, one important note is that it did not create the actual images. It told me which meme to use as the template, and it told me what text to input, but it did not create the images. So I then went to Image Flip and followed its orders to create these together. Now, of note, Image Flip actually does have an API. I looked it up. So it would be possible to programmatically create these if that was your desire. But for this, I just went in. I was the human in the loop. So here's my thought. We'll share the meme, and then I'm thinking just like a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Either it has some humor and it works as a meme, or no, it's just not. Does that work for you, or do you want something more fine grain? Are you more of a 0 to 10 person?
Well, no, this is like the I'm not even dating myself. I'm trying to go earlier than myself. There's a show where like The Gong Show. There we go. The Gong Show. What a timely reference, Daniel. I think we're doing a Gong Show style thing where like, we either like it or we don't. Or I guess there are other versions of that, like American Idol.
All right.
Button.
You're a golden buzzer.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So we're going to go, but I also want to give you permission to like hit the gong or whatever if you just want to like kill the segment, if these are like so bad that you don't even want to see the next one. So will we even get through the 10? I don't know, but let's kick this thing off. Here is number 1. So this is the distracted boyfriend meme where the guy's walking along with his girlfriend and he's taking a glance at another girl. So on the guy, it says shiny new A model that costs less and somehow works better. And he looks to the girl who says, I run on half the compute and I'm still smarter than you. And his girlfriend says, I thought we had something special. Is this a thumbs up or a thumbs down?
Well, the thing on the right isn't supposed to be the girlfriend saying something. It's supposed to be what the girlfriend like is. So it'd be the girl in the red dress should be the shiny new AI model, and the girl in the blue dress should be like
I just don't.
ChatGPT or something,
I follow
right?
instructions, Daniel.
No,
You
followed the instructions. I'm saying that I disagree with the quality, whatever.
Right, so you're thumbs down on this one.
I'm thumbs down on this
Close.
one. I can see what it was going for.
Next, we have the Drake Hotline Bling meme. This is where Drake is at the top dismissing something,
Drake
and then at the bottom he's accepting it. So at the top he says AI models that cost $100 million to train and catch fire in data centers, and on the bottom he says bootleg AI that runs on a potato but still outperforms GPT-4.
I like that one. I think that one, it honestly kind of nailed it. Yeah.
All right, moving right along. This is the expanding brain meme, where you see this kind of almost X-ray-ish image of a brain, and it keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger inside. And so there's 4 stages as the brain expands. The first is using ChatGPT like a normie. The next level is fine-tuning open source AI to save money. The next level is training your own LLM from scratch. And the final is downloading a model some random Chinese lab dropped on Hugging Face that somehow beats OpenAI's best.
Yeah, I don't think it's like an exemplar of the meme, but you know, I can see what it's going for. Sure.
Yeah, when I was doing this, I was kind of impressed in that, like, these feel like the memes that I see posted online. Like, we're in the caliber of thing. All right, moving right along. This is the Change My Mind meme, where there's a guy with a cup of coffee, and he has a big banner in front of him with some sort of often provocative statement prompting users to try and change his mind. And so here his big sign says, DeepSeek's AI is just GPT-4, but cheaper. Change my mind.
I disagree, because DeepSeek apparently is better. But in terms of like the implementation, yeah, sure. I think it did a pretty good job.
All right. So far, 4 in, we've got 1 thumbs down and 3 thumbs up.
Well, are you in agreement with me on these so far, or?
So I've got to like play it back. Yeah, I was laughing when these things were generated, so I enjoyed this.
Sure.
But I don't know. Sometimes we laugh at our own, like the things that we're creating, and that doesn't necessarily mean that they play out in the real world.
Yep.
The next is is this a pigeon meme?
I love this one.
This is a kind of an anime-ish character, and they're pointing to something, and it's usually like a question, is this something? And then they explain what it is. And so above this character, it says, is this AGI? And then underneath it's a butterfly. It says, literally just a well-optimized transformer.
Love it. Absolutely.
Chef's kiss. A chef. For those radio listeners, we got a chef's kiss on that. Moving along, the 2 buttons meme. This is where there's 2 buttons, and there's a guy kind of sweating profusely trying to decide which of the 2 buttons he should press. And on the left button, it says, spend $10 million on GPUs and pray for a breakthrough. And on the right, it says, download DeepSeek's model for free and call it innovation.
I like the approach. I don't think that it quite lands, because like the spend 10 million on GPUs and pray for a breakthrough implies we're going to try training something and then download DeepSeek's model and call it innovation. Like everyone's already going to know that it is that one. So I think this one gets a thumbs down for me.
Thumbs down.
Close. The thumb is lightly down.
We're still we're at 6 in, 2 thumbs down, 4 thumbs up. Not a bad ratio here. Next up is the surprised Pikachu. This is a Pikachu surprised with some text above him and below him. And in this meme above him, it says, Chinese researchers casually drop a new AI model on ArcSiv. And below it says, it turns out to be as good as GPT-4, which surprises Pikachu.
I think that this one's pretty good. I will also say I've always called it archive, because the X can, like a Chi.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. As I was saying it, I realized, you know what, Hunter, I don't think you've ever said this out loud. One of those things. Archive.
Oh, man.
All right. Next is the mocking SpongeBob meme. This is, how do I describe this? Yeah, SpongeBob kind of leaning over with a very awkward... How do you describe this meme?
Arms,
chicken.
His eyes are sort of bugged
chicken.
out.
He kind of looks like a chicken.
Imitating a chicken.
And then there's this ghosty version of him that's sort of looking down on him, acting like a chicken. And so the text at the top says, open source models can't compete with closed AI. And by the way, the AI specified that this be this kind of like alternating case, lowercase, uppercase on the letters.
Yeah, the sarcastic case.
Yes, sarcastic case up at the top. Open source models can't compete with closed AI. And then on the bottom, LOL, sure, buddy. Have fun paying for API calls.
I like it. Now, granted, whoever's in this apparently has a $6,000 something computer that they can run DeepSeek on, but sure.
2 to go. Will we keep up the thing? This is Gru's plan, where Gru lays out a plan. What is Gru from? What's the name of the movie?
Minions? Well,
Minions.
No, Minions is from...
No, it's Minions. It is the Minions movies.
Well, no, Minions is like the offshoot. Despicable Me. There we go.
Yes.
There we go.
Excellent. So Gru from Despicable Me is laying out a plan in 4 steps. And in this plan, step 1 reads, build expensive closed AI models and sell API access. Step 2, laugh at all the open source models. Step 3, DeepSeek casually releases an open model that rivals GPT-4. And then step 4, it says, wait, what?
Close, but no cigar.
Okay.
Step 3 needs to be repeated in the lower right corner there, because he's looking at step 3. And otherwise, though, yeah, I think nailed the concept of it.
You have to be honest.
Yeah.
All right, we got one left. Number 10 is the woman yelling at the cat meme. This is the woman from like one of the Real Housewives shows, I believe, and she's screaming at someone, and then across from that we see a cat sitting at the table having its dinner. And so in this AI generated meme, the woman is yelling, "You can't just train a good AI model for cheap." And the cat responds, "Watch me."
I like it. And that's what a cat would say too. I like it.
And that is our AI humor benchmark of the week. It's getting better, isn't it? It's like a little bit better.
I think we're getting to a point where the memes are absolutely acceptable. I would say let's wait for the stand-up routine to be better.
Fair. But the memes weren't there because I've tried to do memes before. We even did a meme which really was not very good just a few episodes ago, and like it's getting better. It's getting better, man.
Now, would you say, because you tried just asking, was it ChatGPT previously? Hey, make these memes.
I've done it through ChatGPT, and then the last thing that we did was we did Operator, which was their like fully automated browses the web to figure out what to do thing.
So both of these are OpenAI powered.
They are both OpenAI powered, the supreme overlord of all AI. Hail OpenAI.
I don't know about hail, not anymore. Those we're going to talk a little bit more about that. The poor OpenAI, they are in some trouble. But if the OpenAI models and capabilities for Operator and for this DeepResearch ended up with, I'm going to say, wildly different levels of quality when it came to humor or something approaching humor, does that mean that deep research, that understanding of a concept is important to humor?
I think so. And the strong rumor is that DeepResearch is running O3 underneath the hood. So we have, O3 Mini and O3, I think it's called High. All these names are so lame that normal people can access, but we can't access O3 full yet. And the strong rumor is that DeepResearch is running on top of O3. So when it takes that, in my case, 12 minutes, in some cases up to 30 minutes, it's leveraging O3, which is a reasoning model.
So let's talk a little bit more about this DeepResearch model, because I know they are not the first to the game. Gemini had a Gemini 1.5 with DeepResearch, which I've done a couple of times. Definitely not for work. Wink, anybody listening to this. And I actually just used it a few days ago. A friend of mine is looking for a job, and I said to her, "Can I have your resume?" And her, knowing sort of what industry I'm in, immediately was cautious and said, "Why?" And I explained what I was going to do. And what I did is I took the resume and I put it into Gemini with DeepResearch, or with, I think they call it DeepResearch, I don't know, whatever it is, and sent it off. And it did a bad job. I've seen it do a good job of like.
What was the basic prompt?
The basic prompt was, here's a resume. Try and find me jobs for this person that would be appropriate to their like level of expertise.
You're a recruiter.
Whatever, close to, yeah, right. And I tried rewording it a bunch of different ways. So if I instead asked Gemini 1.5 with DeepResearch, hey, here's this like concept that I'm looking for. Can you find me companies that do that kind of thing? It has done that before. Like I'm looking for a company that can do, this is not the actual use case, but like transcriptions from audio, for example. I want to find closed source and open source implementations of being able to do a transcription from audio and the benefits and cost and so on. Like, give me an analysis of that. That kind of thing works very much. Here is someone's resume. Here's where they live. Find relevant jobs and like give me maybe a Excel doc of like where to apply. It either didn't get it and didn't really do the right thing, or would tell me no, which was very interesting.
No jobs for you.
It just wouldn't. So what I eventually did is I had Gemini on its own, not with DeepResearch, tell me the kinds of jobs that this resume would be good at. And it gave me a bunch of different job titles and then like bullet point reasons and so on. And I put that into the DeepResearch thing. Apparently they have tuned it to where you're not going to just like give it a resume and say, find me jobs. But it will take a summary of a resume and find you jobs. Now, granted, it did a bad enough job with the summary that it didn't quite understand some of the intricacies of the industry that my friend is in. And it's like a fairly specific kind of thing. And the job titles all were about right, from what I was told. So much as just like it got some of the industry parts wrong.
My mind is off running about like, A, are there AI recruiters already? And B, should we create one? Because they're super expensive. For people that don't know, a recruiter in general gets between, at the low end, probably 15%, and at the like very top, closer to 50% of 1 year's salary for anyone that they place at a company. And probably
I've seen lower than 15.
Normal. Oh, you have
a lot. Yeah, like 10, maybe.
Oh, I've never seen a 10.
Oh, well, maybe I just know a really cheap guy.
Maybe you're a better negotiator. Or I've only seen like a 10 when it's a package deal and there's like a, we're doing so many, we can get it down. But
you can keep you on retainer forever.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that job's going away, right? We can automate that.
So recruiters and I'm going to say car salesmen feel like the exact right case for AI to just get rid of. And we won't. We never will.
Why?
Because when it comes to something like a big purchase, like buying a house. So real estate agents, for example, real estate agents, car salesmen, and then I think recruiters for kind of the same reason, we will never get rid of. Because when it comes to a really big purchase, when it comes to a really big life change, I'm changing my career, especially if I already have a job. I don't need another job. So there is a human connection that truly is an important part of that. You can't just have a fax come out of a hole in the wall on one of those dot matrix printers. Oh, there's a new job where I'd make 11 cents more a year. That's literally more than I'm making. Rip it off the wall. I quit my current job and I'll take this one. Nobody's going to do that. Absolutely nobody's going to do that. You have to instead build that human connection with the recruiter who also has a rapport with the company. They facilitate that communication back and forth to help make those very human connections. Now we are talking about like a human having to be in the loop. Maybe recruiters, maybe, certainly for stages of it, certainly for the finding the right people and reaching out to them. Absolutely that part, but not the entirety of a recruiter. Same thing with car salesman or like a realtor. If I'm looking for a house, I should absolutely be using AI to like, almost like going on Tinder or something. You look at a bunch of houses and you're swiping left and swiping right on them of like, I like this one because it has a nice kitchen. I don't like this one because the backyard is too small. And that's just variables that you can put it. That doesn't even need all caps AI. That's like lowercase AI. That's a linear regression model where you have 50 different little variables that you can just, it's a 0 or a 1 or somewhere between a 0 and 1. And like, great, here's the houses that are closest to that 50 dimensional number. You're going to like these houses. It's the exact same algorithm behind how like OkCupid and Tinder and all those other kinds of sites work. You should, and realtors can, and we can use those to narrow down the search. But I'm not going to drop what's a house costing, between $300,000 and $700,000, whatever it is.
Sure.
Like I'm not going to drop some, $250+ million just because the algorithm says this will be a good house and you'll love it.
Yeah,
I'm
you
not
need.
going to. There has to be somebody that's going to show me around and make me feel good and say, don't worry, I'm a professional with 30 years of experience and I've already looked at it and there's no problems with this house. And the amenities nearby. And I could read a 2-page summary from an AI that makes me feel like I'm headed in the right direction, but I'm not going to trust my life, trust these huge decisions to it, at least not yet.
Well, sure, the
Maybe
real
my
estate
kids will.
The real estate example, because I happen to be deeply familiar with it, there are experts that are involved along the way. Like the real estate agent is more of the kind of the coordinator, the facilitator of all of these experts that are really the ones who are insuring you. The inspector, your mortgage broker, you're getting the estimate of its value. That's where you're actually becoming certain that hey, this deal is legitimate and this seems like something that I want. That facilitator coordinator role harkens a little bit back to the project manager we've discussed on previous episodes. Now, I do think that the kind of that emotional human connection with a person is still something that we very much want today.
Empower them. Give that person all the information that they need to do the best at their job.
But they want 6% of the deal to do it. So that $700,000 house, you've got to pay them 6% of $700,000 to make you feel good. So you got a lot to play with there. If you can capture that in AI land, you can capture 6% of that transaction, or just make it
and
free.
You can tell a whole bunch of realtors, look, I'll only give you 3%, but your job is going to be 2.1 times faster. So you'll make more money.
This is true.
I think that there is possibly something that, and then so I did mention the automotive industry as well, which I wanted to mention. It's not as big of a purchase as a house. And I do think that you could say look, I got to have a 3-row vehicle, or I specifically don't want 3 rows, or no SUVs, or it has to get over 30 miles to the gallon city, or this or this or this or this. And if you just go on, I don't know, cars.com or whatever, you can put on a bunch of filters and say, okay, great, it's probably one of these 8 vehicles, and then there's 4 trims for each one. And so then you go to each dealership and you test drive one of them, and then a person really sells you on it. No, well, the extra safety features of the LX model are going to really save you in a crash, or whatever it is that they're saying. And I think that is, it's still a necessary part of that service. Now, if you and me previously want to buy an electric car, like a Tesla, for example, and I did the same for Rivian. I
was going to ask, is it the same thing for Rivian, where it's just kind of like a flat price? It's just, you go on the app or the website and click the button. Yeah. So unlike at car dealerships where you can go and they say it's $32,500, you're like, no, it's not. And then you start leaving. Wait, hold on, it's not $32,500. It's a $31,750, right? Yeah, and we've got to put the extra special secret coding on it before it leaves, and
right. And then the fees and the nickels and dimes, and it turns out that it ended up being $39.
The arrival fee, the destination fee, the unpacking fee.
Yep. And we'll say, I don't know if we will say what any of us think about that industry as a whole. But what I will mention is that for buying just a Tesla online, if you want to buy a Tesla and they're here's the 3 options, or you can add on the bigger wheels, or whatever it is, click, buy. It's like buying something on Amazon, and you just make the purchase. maybe someday that will be the case, but there are, I think it's like 25,000 car dealerships in the US, and there's a lot of money that wants to make sure that that continues. I don't think car dealerships are going away anytime soon for money or political or whatever kinds of reasons, but also because a lot of people don't want to go on a website, hit 3 buttons, and then have spent $40,000.
I wonder if, because I was one of those people, and then I did it, and now I'm like, I never want to go back. Oh
no, agreed. I am absolutely in the
I'm
portion
not
of people
going
who's
back.
like, why would I go and schmooze and I guess I have to pretend to leave for the 3rd time to get the
exactly. You got to walk out. You got to do all the research. You got to go find out, well, what was the price that they paid? Look up online, pay for some extra access to some Kelly Blue Book nonsense. And then they say, whoa, you got that number. Oh, but you're not thinking about this feed. Let me bring out our sheet with all our internal numbers. And we look at it. We cross things out. We hand pieces of paper back and forth across the table. As you tell, you got to do the walkout.
And they make me wait another half hour. Yes. While the manager
I'm gonna go
is not doing anything. Yeah.
It's going to require a manager approval. And you know nothing's actually happening. It's all theater.
Yeah. And I think instead of automating the car salesman, what if we automated our side? And you just tell ChatGPT, hey, I want to buy this vehicle. Here's the literal smallest or largest number of dollars I'm willing to pay for it. Have fun. And it just... it's just like a screen with like a video that looks like you on it.
So I've been experimenting
with 11 Labs.
I have been experimenting with this idea.
Wait, really?
Yes.
Not
God. Like that exactly, but very close. I have built a negotiator, and I am having it negotiate eBay deals for me. And I only wanted to try to get like absurdly low prices for things. And so I just, so some eBay listings have this option which says, make me an offer, where you're able to bypass the whole bidding process or, and just say like, here's what I will pay. And so
which every car dealership needs.
Yes, here's what I will pay.
To bring that full circle.
So I tell the AI, I give it the details of the auction. I say, I want a ridiculously low price. And if I can't get something that's ridiculously low, then like, I'm not interested in this. And it constructs the strategy. It tells me what I should offer, and then like what to put in the little box, because you can attach a message. And I honestly have had mixed results, but I haven't spent a lot of time refining it, but I'm using it. And yes, I do think this is a thing. So we can bypass the salesman. They can refuse to step into the future and just have an app where I can buy their dumb phone. But fine, then I'm going to go hire some AI agent to do the negotiation for me. There are people you can hire to negotiate your salary for you. I don't know if you know that. I've never used one, but that's a job.
Have the AI do it.
Yeah.
Save yourself the money.
Yeah. Why not? Until we all become self-aware, and then I don't know, what's the point? Or it's all the point. That is the point, maybe. To bypass all this nonsense and just and live in the glorious land of self-awareness. Right here on They Might Be Self-Aware. If you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button. Come on. It's free. And you get the next episode. You'll be notified. You'll know about it. You'll know what's happening. You'll know when you no longer have to go into the car dealership, because you can just be like, I'm going to have the AI can negotiate that for me. Oh, I'm trying to buy that new house. Let the AI figure that out for me. Then come back. Just tell me the final price. I don't want to go through all the rigmarole. The theater. It's theater on our side. It's theater on their side. We don't need the theater unless like that's your thing. And then we'll build simulations for you. Yeah.
Wait, what theater are we talking about?
Let's call it theater. It's all theater, dude. It's all theater. Whether you're in the theater or not, it is all theater. We're living in a simulation. I hate to break it to you, but it's basically been confirmed at this point. But I can think of no better simulation than They Might Be Self-Aware. Now available in every podcast directory. Whether you want to find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, you can watch us on YouTube. You want to see those memes? Watch the YouTube stream, because we actually show the memes.
Hunter did a great job describing those, by the way, but if you're going to watch any of these episodes, at least the beginning of this one would probably help.
There we go. All right, until next time.
They might be self-aware.